Welcome back, YouTube. So in today's video, we're going to do an update on the price action and take a look here at the market as a whole and get some idea as far as for the liquidity that's flowing around crypto right now. So right now, this is for Doge. We're at the 50. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and switch this over because I want to just kind of relay the information here because I was charting some other things here, so I wanted to switch. So we have the rejection here off of the 50 on the 14 to 72. We're close to around the 200. If we add fib back in here, let me go to stocks and crypto. Okay, so we were talking about this major liquidity zone as far as for where Doge has been rejected for historically around the 12 cents mark, right? And this is pretty much where we're holding up. So per the trend up until now, we typically get the aggression to the upside here once we grab liquidity from this zone, and we've seen it here. We've seen where we had the push out. I'm going to try and zoom in here. We had the push up here. We ended up closing a little red the next day, got a star, and then we ended up closing green the positive day. Still pushed down, right? Both of these, even though it's a red candle and a green candle, the wick is price action. So this was higher. It was pushed down to close red. This is also higher, but it still closed green. Both of these numbers here indicate, even if you look at this here, even though they're technically quote unquote red, this is a fierce push to try and go to the upside here. So because the downside, if you notice that the momentum here, like if you compare it to this initial wick here to the downside, the wicks are not to the downside. So this is the push to test the waters as far as to go up. And this is kind of what I meant when I was putting the lines here, just to kind of show like this current trend. We're going to bump our heads on this probably tomorrow. This is today's candle. We'll see where it closes. It's probably going to be very low volume again. But tomorrow we're going to have a defining moment here with this trend, and to kind of see if we're going to be able to break above it. Now, on the macro side, for those of you that were asking in the community section when I said there could possibly be like some blood yesterday because of QW, quadruple witching, expiration of options, a lot of different contracts across the board, right? This happens roughly every quarter, every 3 months, and we have like a kind of like a market reset. So when you see things sell off, it's not a catalyst for a stock or a particular company. It's not a catalyst for crypto just to say, oh, crypto's red, or the market sells off, or somehow Nvidia sucks now, Apple sucks now. No, this is a market event where we have a great kind of like consider a great swapping that's taking place here, and whether or not you want to roll, extend, take profit, all this stuff happens around this time here. So, and of course, obviously there's some red in the market because extreme volatility typically, especially when there are price fluctuations, that typically results in people taking profit, and some slight fear in there as far as some where things are going to balance at. So you'll typically get a sell-off and also some great deals. So that obviously affects the capital allocation, institutional money, and stuff like that over the next few months. We'll see this again in September, so just kind of keep that in mind. But it's not evidence of the market turning against you. This happens. This is a scheduled event. It happens, like I said, every 3 months on the third Friday. So it's planned and it's scheduled here. So we'll see that kind of trickle over and to the market. But what we're looking at as far as for crypto, we are looking for the capital to flow into the market, right? And one of the things that we're seeing is now we're seeing low volumes or weakening trends. And you can get evidence of this even if you're charting like Bitcoin. The only thing that's been getting a lot of volume in the last couple of days has been the Haktua coin. But you'll see here, even for Bitcoin, this is really zoomed in, but you'll see we got the wick to the downside as well, where we've been getting the push, but also not strong enough to go to the upside, right? And we're still in this channel. Matter of fact, I'll keep it here because this is actually pretty great. we'll still end this channel here if you kind of want to get like an idea of where the touches were. I got it here as far as we're aligning with the wicks here on the red, but you get an idea, right? We're rejecting from the upside, 72,000, roughly 71 to 73,000. And to the downside here is 59.58, right? This is where we've been typically gathering liquidity. And obviously there's a mid-range in here, but we are not getting the liquidity coming into the market to push the market here into that next leg. So when I know sometimes people look at Doge or Bitcoin and they think of it as, or specifically Doge. I think Bitcoin followers are kind of have a broader range, but people look at Doge and they'll say, oh, well, it's not going higher, or it's the consolidation here. This here is not like, let's look here. If you're following Doge, this is Bitcoin. This is not a bullish trend. We're seeing we got rejected here. I want to say maybe like 20 times here, depending on what chart you're looking at, but we got rejected a series of times here. And so typically when you have a weakening trend or a consistent rejections, let's just say Doge and 18 cents, you typically will have a sell-off and you go and grab liquidity, and then you come back and you retest. Right, you can see it here. Right, this is what we had, that breakout. We went boom, boom. Okay, and so all these wicks here, just consider it saying no, 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 no. Okay, well, we'll grab some liquidity, come back. No, 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 no. Okay, grab some liquidity, come back. No, no, no. Okay, fine. We go down here, grab a bunch of liquidity, right? And then you start seeing strong moves to the upside. You start getting these larger candles here, like May 3rd, May 15th. And May 20th, big strong moves to the upside, boom, 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 and it still says no, right? So you go down, okay, try again. You're knocking at the door, right? No, no, no. So now it's saying, okay, fine, I'll go grab some more liquidity, and that's the game. You're trading zone to zone, right? You can consider this with any asset. You'll have like the lower volumes here. You'll have these retests, same thing. This would be the downtrend here after the rejection here of the golden cross. We were looking at, because again, this has played out historically over the last couple of years. It's played out perfectly, but we did not emerge out of the 72 here, so curved into it right underneath it and came down. So this is not again, I'm charting very close to the Bitcoin, not a bullish trend. And then you have the rejections here at around 17, 18 cents. No, 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 rejection, back up. And you're playing the liquidity game. So the question is, what we're looking at is, where is the liquidity going to come from that's going to be strong enough to break down that door and start the next leg, right? And we have to consider that when we are looking at these assets. People are asking, okay, where's the bottom? Now, historically, this has worked for Doge. Now, this level here is where we've been able to grab liquidity thus far on this trend. I'll say for pretty much the entirety of this year, we've been able to grab enough liquidity from this level to go retest, right? The question is and I think that what we see, like this allocation or the rebalancing of portfolios, is what does this mean for, because right now we have low volume in Doge per the smaller candles. So the question is, what does this mean for the market if Bitcoin has to go back down to around 59,000 to go to retest, right? We got some rejections from down here before, but we've also closed below it around 57, and it was brief, and we got those big moves to the upside. But what does it mean for the market if Bitcoin has in fact to go to these levels again to retest in order to go back up, right? So that is where you can kind of get a window, and maybe you'll get a move to around like 10 cents for Doge. The thing that kind of shapes it up to be very interesting is when we get these numbers, it's like when you have these max liquidity pulls and before you run and retest, they're very fast, right? You'll see the rejection here, kind of like with Bitcoin. You had this was on a close of a day, right? We can take some smaller charts here and look at the hourly or the 4 hour, but this is your time, the absolute best time to buy it here. And then it immediately went on a bullish trend to retest. And you'll see this across the board, even for Doge and other cryptos that at least the top 10 for the most part that track Bitcoin very closely. You'll have those, the opportunity here to kind of grab it at that level. Now, it doesn't mean that that's necessarily going to happen. I'm just putting it out there. If Bitcoin does not grab enough liquidity from where we are now to go retest, we have to kind of, I'm giving you both sides of the fence here, so that way you can kind of make your own analysis here from that. So the question here is obviously, where is Bitcoin going to grab that liquidity from, right? And it's done it mid-trend before. Doge is at the level where it's needed to grab liquidity so far, even when Bitcoin was previously at that 57 to 59 mark. But the trend here now is it's not, the market as a whole does not have the capital coming into it that it did a few months ago. So now you see lower volume and the need for to grab some more liquidity. So that's why I said it's that potential to go to that like 10 cents range, and then you'll have that run back up, which is already done, right? It did this the other day and went to around like 11 cents, and then you had a big push up. So even though it still closed red on the day, the buy order started coming in. So that's what I mean by it's really quick, because typically when you hit those numbers psychologically, people are interested at that number. So the buy orders start coming in relatively quickly. So even though you may not see a immediate bump back to 12, it doesn't sit at 10 very long. So you would need a massive sell-off to try and keep an asset down that low, or to get it to even go lower. I know I've seen some talks out there. I've seen some of you asking about like 8 cents. It's I won't say it's impossible, but it's unlikely from where we are now, right? Bitcoin would have to absolutely go through the floor, or some Doge specific catalyst, very negative, would have to come out to kind of pull the rug from under Doge to get it to go like, because Bitcoin, in order for Doge to go to 8 cents, Bitcoin would have to drop below, I say break the previous low of like 57,000. So Bitcoin would have to probably go to like 50K or something like that, definitely below 57. Or some, maybe even cause a panic event, or there's a major sell-off, or a whale just has a interesting timing to dump here. Then we can kind of get that break, because these are gaps, and gaps do fill. So it does open up that window. But as we saw here thus far, the buys start coming at 10. So I guess we're talking about how big of an event that it would take to actually overwhelm those buy orders and continue pushing down. So I don't know, maybe something like Elon saying, I'm not going to use Doge on X, or something like that would have to happen in order for that to happen right now. So that's not something that I'm particularly concerned about right now. The question is Bitcoin going to 57? Once we get in that range, or unless it's just falling on the day and it just has tens of thousands of dollars just come out of it, then we can revisit that question. But as of right now, that's not something that I'm focusing on. So we can take a look here at shorts, USD shorts. They were in relatively high, but then they're coming out. So right now, red on the last 2 days, down 0.15% on the day. Interesting. I wonder why they had a change of heart. I wonder if this had something to do with that rejection from the 12-cent mark. Very interesting here. I always like looking at the correlation between shorts and current price action. So very interesting. I'm gonna take a look here quickly at Bitcoin shorts. Nominal 2.27% on the day, resting right at the 200. They've also came out of their position here, a little green on the day, but resting right at the conjunction of the 1472 and the 200. Interesting. So like I said, I think that we'll get an idea here roughly in the next couple of days for whether or not volume is going to pick up, or whether or not we're going to have to, especially for Bitcoin, go a little lower to grab liquidity, because that's what it's going to take as far as for it to get to the next zone. But also, it's not a good indicator right now, because we do have a lot of money bleeding out of the stock market. So this consolidates and kind of flattens out within like the next week or so. So again, this is a scheduled event, so it's not crypto specific. It's not even stock or your whatever company you're invested in specific. This is a market thing. So this is, please don't kind of force that into companies to evaluate, oh, the company or the fundamental has changed, or the fundamentals or the facts around my crypto has changed. No, this is a market thing. So just kind of keep that in mind. But we'll keep you guys updated. I will chime in probably tomorrow or Monday, depending on what the pre-market looks like, or what if futures are telling me anything as far as how markets are going to open on Monday. I'll chime in. Let me know your guys' thought as far as on price action, the fact that Doge is holding the support line. Let me know your thoughts going into the weekend. And for those of you that are new to investing, you have now survived your first quadruple witching. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.